previous class, we have studied the construction details and the working principles and some of the relevant equations which are required. Okay. Now, today let us consider one particular numerical problems. Now, the given problem is a refreshed crystal is to be operated at a frequency of 10 gigahertz. That is, a refreshed crystal device is to be operated at 10 gigahertz with a beam voltage of 300 volts. That is, applied voltage is 300 volts and a repeller space is 0.1 centimeters for a 3/4 mode. That is, the type of the mode is given as 1 3/4 mode. Now, you are supposed to calculate the RF maximum, that is how much amount of the maximum RF power is generated, and the corresponding repeller voltage for a beam current of 200 milliamperes. That means to say that we are supposed to get a beam current of 200 milliamperes. So, for this particular purposes, you have to calculate the corresponding repeller voltage. With that particular repeller voltage, how much amount of the maximum RF power you are getting. Now, so let us solve this particular problem. Now, for us, what you are supposed to do is that to solve any of the particular problem, first look into the problems, see what are the datas are given, okay, write down the given datas, and then check what are the things you are supposed to solve it. That is, what are the unknown parameters are there that you are supposed to find it. So, now in the given problem, the operating frequency is given, so that f is equal to 10 gigahertz and repeller voltage is given, so that the beam voltage is given, that is equal to 300 volts, and space is given, that is the repeller space here, it is 0.1 centimeter is given, and the operating mode is given, so that n is equal to 103/4, and it is asked you to that you have to calculate the RF maximum, so that is written as the maximum RF power, and it is asked you that calculate the repeller voltage, that repeller voltage is VR. That is, some parameters are given and these are the two parameters you are supposed to calculate. And before solving the particular problems, so first you have to write whatever the relevant equations are there, okay, and then once you write the relevant equations, now for us the power output, that is PRF is given by 0.3982 into V0 I0 divided by N. Now, whatever the given value, that is PRF maximum is your unknown values, and this is a formula you are supposed to use it, and V0 I0 and N. So, these are the given values you have to substitute. Now 0.398, V0 is given as 300. Now, here you can see that V0 is given as 300 and then I0 is given as 20 milliamperes, 20 into 10 to the power of minus 3, and the mode is given is 1 into 3/4. So, if you simplify, this one, you will get the value as 1.36 volts. This is the equation which was used to calculate the repeller voltage. Now, here F is the frequency, L is the repeller space, V is the voltage, that is the beam voltage what it has been applied, and N is the mode. Now, here also we will substitute 6.74 into 10 to the power of minus 6. F, it is given as 10 gigahertz, 10 giga is 10 to the power of 9. So, therefore, 10 into 10 to the power of 9 into, so that is L is given. So, in the given problem, the L given is 0.1 centimeters. So, this is 0.1 centimeters, you have to convert into a meters. Okay. Now, the 0.1 into 10 to the power of minus 2 into root of 300. Okay. So, divided by 1 3/4, then minus of this 300. Okay. Now, if you simplify this particular values, you will get a value as 367.08. Okay. In the given problem, the PRF has been asked. We have calculated PRF is equal to 1.365 volts, and repeller voltage has been asked, and the repeller voltage you have calculated. So, the repeller voltage is this. So, let us consider the one more problem. So, that is on the given problem is a reflected stone is to be operated at 5 gigahertz. That is, the 5 gigahertz is the frequency at which this particular device is operating, and the DC beam voltage of 350 volts. and a repeller spacing is 0.5 centimeters, and for n equal to 3/4, that is the mode of operation is given. Okay, and you are supposed to calculate the beam width over delta VR equal to 1 volts. That means, so the calculate the beam width over delta VR equal to 1 means, so if the repeller voltage is changed by 1 volts, that means changed by 1 volts means it is either decreased by 1 volt or it may be increased by 1 volt. Okay. If a repeller voltage is changed by 1 volt, so then in that case you have to calculate the what is the beam width. Now from the given problem, so what you are supposed to first write down, so whatever the given values are there, and then so whatever the unknown value you have to calculate. So in the from the problem, the given parameters are frequency is given as 5 gigahertz, and the beam voltage is given as 350 volts, and spacing is given, that is the repeller spacing is given, that is 0.3 centimeters, and mode is given 3/4. Okay, I can write it as 15/4 because 4 into 3 is 12, 12 plus 3 is 15, 15 divided by 4. Okay, to solve any problems, this n value you can write it as it is in this particular form, or you can convert in this particular forms. Now, so in this particular case, now delta VR is the unknown values you are supposed to calculate. Now the delta VR is calculated from the formula. Okay, so these are the formulas, you have to remember it. 6.74 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into L into delta F into root of E0 divided by N. In this particular case, 6.74 into 10 to the power of minus 6, L value. So L value is given as 0.3 centimeters, but now, so this 0.3 centimeter value you have to convert into meters. So 0.5 into 10 to the power of minus 2. So this will convert, this particular will change that value from centimeter to the meters, and this is the delta F value. It is an unknown value, we are supposed to calculate it, and root of 3, V naught is 300 is, it is given in the problem, so it is 350. Okay. 350 is given in the problem. So divided by n value is done it here, 15 divided by 4. 15 divided by 4. Okay. Now, if you simplify this particular equation, because delta F is the unknown parameters, if I take the delta F, now your delta F is equal to 5.948 megahertz. So this is the beam width. Okay. Here, so this delta F is equal to beam width. Okay. Now let us consider one more problem. So the given problem is a reflector crystal is to be operated at 9 gigahertz with a DC beam voltage of 600 volts. Okay. For 1/3/4 mode, the repeller space length is given as 1 mm and a DC beam current of 10 milliamperes, and the beam coupling coefficient is assumed to be 1. Now you are supposed to calculate the repeller voltage and the electronic efficiency and the output power of the given reflex cluster. And whenever you want to solve any particular problem, read the problem carefully and see what are the data are given. Write down those particular data, the given data, and then write down what are the parameters you are supposed to calculate. Now for the given problem, we look into this. The operating frequency is given, that is 9 gigahertz, F0 is equal to F is equal to 9 gigahertz. Okay. And then a mode is given, that is 1/3/4 mode, and voltage is given, that is a DC beam voltage, it is 600 volts, and the repeller space length is given, it is 1 mm, and then beam coupling coefficient, okay, the beam coupling coefficient is given as B1, it is given as 1, and beam current is given it as 10 milliamperes. Okay. And these are the given values, and these are the 3 unknown values. Then one is the repeller voltage, one is the RF maximum RF output power and another one is the efficiency. Now, first let us calculate this particular unknown parameter, that is the repeller voltage. Now, the repeller voltage is given by the formula 6.74 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into F, where F is the frequency, L is nothing but the repeller space, into root of V0 is nothing but your beam voltage, divided by N is nothing but the mode. Okay. Now, 6.74 into 10 to the power of minus 6, we will write it as it is. Now, F is 9 into 10 to the power of 9, because the given frequency is 9 gigahertz. Okay. Now, if it is given in gigahertz, you are writing it as 10 to the power of 9. If it is in megahertz, okay, you are writing it as 10 to the power of 6. Okay. Then L is there. So, L is here in the given problem, L is given as 1 mm, but this particular 1 mm you have to convert into meters. Okay. So, therefore, this 1 mm I am converting into meters, 1 into 10 to the power of minus 3 into root of 600. 600 is the V0 is given. So, divided by 1 into 3 by 4. Okay. If you simplify this, so I am going to get the voltage as 249 volts. So, this is the repeller voltage what it has been asked in the given problem. Next is you are supposed to calculate the output power. Now, the output power is calculated from the equation, that is PRF is equal to 0.398 I0 V0 divided by N. So, 0.39 your V0 is 600, I is 10 milliamperes. Current is given here is, if you look at I0 is 10 milliamperes. So, 10 into 10 to the power of minus 3 divided by 1 into 3 by 4. So, I am going to get the values as 1.364. And remember, the power is always expressed in terms of watts. So, therefore, I am writing the units as watts. And remember one thing, whenever you are calculating all the parameters, once you get the values, try to write its respective units, because simply if you write 1.364 or 249 something like this, it does not give you any meanings. So, okay, here you write voltage is there, write the voltage, current is there, write the amperes, if the power is there, write the watts. Then efficiency, okay, so it is calculated from x into J1 of x divided by pi into n, and this particular formula is related to the Bessel's functions, and for particular values of J1 of x is taken from the Bessel's functions, and that value is going to be 0.398. Okay, and you are supposed to remember this particular formula, that is efficiency is calculated to calculate the efficiency. Equation or formula used is 0.398 divided by n. Okay, that means how this particular 0.398 divided by 0.398 you are getting at this particular case is for a particular values of x, and J1 of x value is taken it from the Bessel's function table. From the Bessel's functions table, if you substitute it and if you divide it by 0.398 divided by n, so 0.398, so divided by n is in the given problem it is given as 13 by 4. So, I am going to get as 22.74. So, this is 22.74 is the efficiency of this particular reflex crystal corresponding to whatever the given parameters are given in the problem. Okay, now today let us consider the another type of the microwave tube. So, that is a 2-cavity klystron. So, this 2-cavity klystron is used as an amplifiers. Okay. So, as the basic purpose of this particular tube is to amplify the microwave signals. So, the amplification, why you need an amplifier and amplification process is, as you have studied in your lower semesters, we are using the different types of the amplifiers, RC coupled amplifier, LC coupled amplifiers to increase the strength of the signals. And here also, so to increase the strength of the high frequency signals, we are using this 2-cavity klystron amplifiers. Now, if you look into the construction details of this one, so the basic construction details of this particular device is similar to the previous klystron oscillators. See here, here you have a cathode and you have heating elements, and then you have a cavities. But in this particular case, we are having 2 cavities. So, therefore, this particular device is called as a 2-cavity klystron devices. In the previous one, in the reflex klystron, we are having only 1 cavities, but here we are having the 2 cavities. Now, so the basic functional difference between this and the klystron amplifier is that Here we are using the two cavities, and apart from this, here at this particular place, if you observe here you are having the focusing electrodes. So this particular focusing electrode is not present in the klystron oscillators. And the basic on which this particular device operates is same as the previous one, the klystron oscillators. This particular device functions. Now, here when you apply voltages, so this particular heating element start heating, so this heat energy will be transferred to the cathodes. When the cathode gets heated, then the electrons start emitted. Okay? So whatever the electrons are start emitting, so these electrons will move towards this particular catcher cavities. Okay? Before they reach to this particular catcher cavity, so they have to pass through this particular buncher cavity. You are having an RF input. So that RF input, that is the radio frequency signals, whose signal strength you want to amplify, are the signals which you want to amplify. So that is given to as an RF input through this particular coaxial cable here. And so the amplified output signals from this particular two cavity klystron amplifiers is taken through this particular coaxial cable as an RF output at the catcher cavities. And then, so here you are having a buncher cavity, and here you are having a catcher cavities, and the space between, so this particular buncher cavity and the catcher cavity is known as a drift space. Okay, and here, so whatever this particular square blocks, boxes have been shown, rectangular boxes have been shown. So these are nothing but the bunched electrons. Okay, what is meant by this bunching? In the previous class we have seen the things. The same bunching process takes place here. These bunched electrons will move here. Second, next is coming to the construction details in this. Here the question occurs is that why this particular focusing electrodes are to be used in the two cavity klystron oscillators. So the basic function of this particular focusing oscillator is to focus the electrons to a particular point. Okay, what is happening in this particular case is that when the electrons are emitted from this particular cathodes, so there is a possibility that some of the electrons which are emitted from this particular cathode will get deviated from that particular path. Now our purpose is whatever the electrons which are emitted from this particular cathode, whatever it is here, so these electrons, instead of deflecting from their particular path, all the electrons have to be focused toward a particular path. So for this particular purposes, here we are using these particular focusing electrodes. And now see here, so for this particular focusing electrodes, we are applying this particular negative voltage. See here, so this is the negative voltage applied to this particular focusing. Now when you apply the negative voltage here, and the electrons are of negatively charged particles, and this potential applied to this electrodes is also negatively charged particles. Even if any of the electrons move toward this particular focusing electrode or move toward this particular focusing electrode, what they will do? Because the charge of that particular electrode is also negative, and the electrons they will repel. Okay, that is the case is that even though some of the electrons are get deviating from the path because of this focusing electrodes, so negative polarity, they will reflect so that your electrons will be focused to a particular point. That is, once again I am telling you, so these particular focusing electrodes are used to focus all the electrons which are emitted from this particular cathode to a particular point, because our purpose in the reflex. So let us see how this particular bunching takes place. Now as we have seen in the reflex klystrons, here also, so this is just, the diagram is, Applegate diagram is shown for the 3 electrons. Okay, the same effect what it has been shown for the 3 electrons, the same effect will be there for all the n number of electrons. Now as it has been told in the previous class, this is the electrons which is entering, and this is the another electron which is entering, and this is the another electron which is entering. Closely if you look into this, so depending upon across which potential, so these electrons are occurring. If the electrons are occurring with a neutral potential, then these electrons through this particular gap will pass through the same velocity. If the electrons occurs with a negative potential field, a negative field potential, then it passes with a lesser velocity, and if the electrons occurs in the field with a positive field, so the electron velocity get increases. If this is the case is there, what happens is that even some of the electrons which are entered first, some of the electrons which are entered late, but depending upon the field potential, all the electrons will come out of this particular bunch air cavity with the same amount of time, and here so bunched electrons we are getting, and these bunched electrons will move toward this particular catcher cavities. Okay, when they will move toward this particular catcher cavities, so what the thing is happening is that whatever the energy, okay, they got from at the bunching process, so they will transfer this particular energy to the whatever the field is present in this particular catcher cavity. I am telling you once again, all the bunched electrons which are moving toward the catcher cavity. Okay, so this when all the bunched electrons when they move toward the catcher cavity, so then this we are calling it as a current modulations. And all these bunched electrons move toward the particular catcher cavity. So what they will do is that whatever the energy they got, okay, though they will transfer this particular energy to the catcher field. When they transfer this energy to the particular catcher field, then here the amplification signal strength will be get increased. One more the factor you have to remember here is that we will get a maximum amplification when the losses occurs in this particular tube is more than the energy transferred by these particular electrons. Remember one thing, so always in any device certain losses are there, okay, and here also certain losses are there, but to overcome that particular loss, okay, so these bunch of electrons will transfer the particular energy. As the energy transferred by these particular electrons is same as the losses occurring in these particular things, then there is no amplifications. But now here what is happening is that as n thousands of lakhs of electrons are moving and they are bunched together, and they will transfer that particular energy, and when they transfer that particular energy, it is automatically more than, so whatever the energy loss occurring in this particular tube. So therefore, so the signal amplified values will be catched from this particular catcher, because we are catching the signals. Okay, that means whatever the energy will be transferred from this electrode to this particular field, so that energy will be converted into electrical energy. So this energy will be taken by this particular catcher cavity. So therefore, it is called as a catcher cavity, and this energy will be taken through this particular coaxial cable or any type of the micro device, so which will can carry these particular signals. Here we are getting the output, and here, so this is called as a bunch air cavity, because here the electrons are bunched together. And in this particular space, we are having a drift space. So the drift space is the one where, so here the electrons are moving with the uniform velocity. But in the gap, in the cavity gap, the electrons are not moving with the uniform velocity, because, so depending upon what potential is there in this particular gap, positive, negative or the neutral potential, accordingly its velocity gets changes. But when they come out of this particular cavity gap, in the drift space, all the electrons are moving with the equal velocity. So this is how this particular two cavity klystron device can be used for the amplification purposes. And so as I have told you that the electrons are moving, so they are bunched together and they are catched together. So the same diagram it has been shown in this. Here from the cathode the electrons are moving, okay, and in the bunched cavities, so the electrons are bunched together. So you can observe it here. See that these are the dots what have been shown here. So these are not the single electrons, so these are the bunched electrons. Okay, bunched electrons means in the single dot you may be having thousands of electrons. Now, so these bunched electrons will move toward the catcher cavity. Just recall your memory of the previous diagram. You have a bunch air cavity and you have a catcher cavity. Okay. Now, from the bunch air cavity, here the electrons are coming normally in the bunch air cavity, so they will form bunches, and these are the bunched electrons. So these bunched electrons will move toward the catcher cavity, and these bunched electrons will be collected by in this particular catch. And as you know, the flow of electrons is nothing but the current. Now as here, more number of bunched electrons, okay, more number of bunched electrons will be collected by this particular catcher cavity, automatically the whatever the RF signal what you want to amplify, so it will be get amplified. Okay. Now this is the diagram, just one more illustration of, okay, it is just an illustration of how that amplification will take place. You see here, so this is the cathode emits the electrons, and this is the buncher and the catcher cavity. These are all the diagrams. What I am showing you is that in order to have a better understanding of how this particular two cavity klystron works. As you can see here, so this value what it is showing here, what it is at. Now, what is your amplification? Increasing in the strength of the signals. Okay. Here, imagine the case just as an illustration. Here, what is happening is that your signal strength is low, but as you can say that it is increasing. It is nothing but comparatively I am telling you. Now, here what is happening is that when the electrons are emptied from this one, so the density of the electron goes on increases. How the density of the electron goes on increases is the bunching of the electron goes on increases. Okay. As the density of the electron goes on increases and the number of electrons flowing per second goes on increases. What is current? The flow of electrons. Okay. When the less number of electrons are flowing, less number of current will be there. When more number of electrons is flowing, more number of amount of the current is here. Here, as the density of the electrons is increasing, automatically the amount of number of electrons flowing per second is increasing, automatically the signal strength is increasing, automatically we are getting the amplification. So this more density electrons will be catched by this particular cavities, and so when catched by this particular cavities, here we are getting the amplified version, okay, of the signal, RF signal, which you apply at the input side. Okay. So this is in this particular diagram, this is just an one more enhanced diagram of this particular bunching process in the buncher cavities. As you can see here, so this is one bunched electrons. So this is one bunched electrons. So like this, thousands of lakhs of bunched electrons will be there. So that you can just simply I'll show it here. See it here. So this is one bunched electron. This is, don't consider that it is a single electrons. Here thousands of lakhs of electrons are bunched together. So these are the bunched electrons. So how this particular bunching process takes place will be shown with the single. So here the electrons are bunched. Here what it is showing is that only 3 electrons are bunched. Okay, don't think that only 3 electrons, but just it is for the illustration purposes. Along with this one, hundreds of thousands of electrons are moving and they are bunched together as a single dot. Such single dots, okay, such single dots are shown at this particular point, and these bunched electrons are moving. Okay. Now, next is one more diagram in order to give the better understanding of this particular concept. So here, so in this particular diagram, just I have shown only 3 electrons, and here we have shown only 2 bunches. Now, if you observe this particular diagram, you can observe here n number of electrons are moving and forming a bunch, n number of electrons are moving and they are forming a bunches. Okay. Now, such diagrams, what we are doing, using to illustrate the bunching process, it is called as an Applegate diagram. Okay. And now the characteristic of this particular device is efficiency is about 40%, and peak output power generated is up to 30 megawatts, and the average output power is up to 700 kilowatts, and it is at a frequency of 10 gigahertz, and power gain is about 30 dBs, and bandwidth is ranging from 1 to 8%.